Why is having a story worth telling more important than how you tell a story?
Here's the thing. Everybody's a storyteller. Except if you take a poll, right? If I asked you, Eric, or anybody else, anybody who's listening, oh, are you how many of you are storytellers? Raise your hand. We all suddenly go like this. I'm not a storyteller. I don't know how to tell a story, right? We immediately sort of abdicate and we immediately freeze up. Of oh geez, I don't really know how to do that. Yeah. Yet, ironically, we do it every day of our lives. We do it in so many different situations. We're constantly telling stories. Mm-hmm. What did you do this weekend? Right? What's your business about? I mean, it's all of these questions. Where'd you grow up? When we're networking, all of these are moments where we're telling stories. We just don't realize we're telling stories, right? Or we go to the bank teller and we have a horrible customer service experience. That's a story, right? And we may repeat it and share it in different ways. So most of us think we don't know how to tell stories, and then our excuse becomes, oh, well, geez, I don't know the structures of storytelling, and I'm not really good at that stuff. I wouldn't be good to get up on stage and perform a story. So what I usually coach people on is, look, there are many techniques and strategies on how to tell better stories, right? And there is a craft to that. But what's exponentially more important is first make sure you have a story worth telling. You have to ask yourself the question, why? Why should I care about that? What's going to make me connect? Or you're trying to raise money and you're asking people to donate. It's okay, why are they going to emotionally be attracted to what you're sharing, right? It's everything in life has either attraction or repulsion to it. And part of what you're doing when you're telling the story is you want to have something that's worth telling, worth sharing, right? If it's worth sharing, people are going to want to drink it, right? So it's that simple notion of what's the energy to what you're sharing? Not just for yourself, but really, again, thinking about in service to who you're interacting with. It's one of the reasons why lately I've been thinking more and more about leadership, and that leadership is a gift-giving exercise. Right? We usually think of leadership, it's oh, yes, it's, we think about this with politicians. Well, who gets voted into power? And right. We give lip service to, I'm going to take, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But really, the way you become a leader is by taking care of those around you. It's that simple. I mean, it's so simple. It's well, yeah, it's not obvious. But think about how often that does or doesn't happen. That our so-called leaders, are they really taking care of those around them, in demonstrative terms? So that's the same thing. That's why as a leader, it's a fundamental act of storytelling. And there's a lot of research around this. Howard Gardner's got a great book called Leading Minds. This is the guy who came up with all the multiple intelligences, and he then wanted to study the anatomy of leadership. And he looked at all these great leaders of the 20th century, and he came to the conclusion, didn't matter where they were in the world, their upbringing, when they came to power, so on and so on. What all connected them, it was one singular trait, was their ability to tell a story that inspired and connected with the world. Right? So this notion that as leaders, we're storytellers, and as leaders it's a gift-giving exercise. And this is of course also what is the underwriting current of the internet. Right? The gift economy. Mm-hmm. Because again, remember, if we live in this world of hyper-connection and yet low trust, how do you overcome that barrier? Going back to anthropology, right? We're also not only hardwired for storytelling, we're hardwired for the gift economy. You look back to indigenous cultures. In Native American culture, it's the potlatch, right? In Asian Pacific cultures, out in the islands, it's cargo culture, right? And it's this notion that if you are a true leader, there's no greater privilege, there's no greater demonstration of status, and it's a real honor, right, to be able to, for instance, I'm going to provide the pig that's roasted that feeds the village, right? And so it's coming from that place of what do I have to give and share? And being able to connect with people from that place. I mean, that's why, right, if any of us are trying to make it online, you're trying to build a business, it's why you have to give things away for free, right? Why you've got a free ebook or you've got some other offer. You want to give something of value to people that invites them into relationship, right? And that whole process is a storytelling process.